Hey, this is Greg Gomez III with 100KMLM.com and the MLM Business Blueprint. And today we're talking about the second piece of the 6-step MLM Business Blueprint. It's my coaching program that we released in February to huge success. Folks are adding up to 80 people a month in their businesses using this strategy. Brand new folks who've never been successful in any network marketing business at all. Their first day adding 5 people, the first week of applying the strategies, adding 5 people into their businesses and then some. Multi-million-dollar, 7-figure earners coming into the program saying it's by far the best training they've ever seen in network marketing in their 30-year career. And it's pretty powerful, so it was very well received. I enjoy it, and we're planning on reopening it here. It's going to be the most powerful system I've ever put out, and it's going to be the most affordable system. I'm very excited about what we're putting together. And today we're going to be discussing the second piece of the puzzle. Now, this is the one where every network marketer gets hung up on. This is the one where network marketers say, I need leads. I don't need to worry about any of this other stuff, Greg. I just need a pile of leads of people who are ready to buy. I don't want to mess around with tire kickers. I don't want to mess around with people who are pseudo-interested. I want people who've got money, and I want them to take advantage of my opportunity, and that's it. Well, the reality is that list doesn't exist unless you craft it yourself. Now, the challenge with building your own list sources, which I do recommend that you do, but one of the big challenges with that for most network marketers is most network marketers, through my experience, are pretty technically challenged. It's difficult for us to go out there and learn everything that we need to about social media, YouTube, pay-per-click marketing, article submissions, blogging, Web 2.0, all of these different systems that change on a daily basis. And we have to stay up on them, and it becomes a full-time job. And for many folks, it's difficult to do. I'm going to tell you the truth. I've built a multi-million-dollar business. I've built multiple 6-figure income for some of my low-end, low-tech strategies, and I never used any of those techniques. I've never learned to build any of those. In fact, right now, the blog that we just put up, I outsourced that to somebody else. I had somebody else build that for me who's more knowledgeable in those areas. And I would recommend for the things that you need to do to be successful very quickly, that those are things that are important pieces to the overall puzzle. I obviously use Web 2.0 strategies. I use these marketing techniques myself. But that's not the focal point of my business, and it's not all that's necessary to be successful. What you do need to be successful are leads. You need to target a good market, which is point number 1. And number 2, you need to be able to get leads of these folks who are going to be interested in your products and services. Now, in the first video, I've already covered the importance of leading with your product and your service for several different reasons. If you missed it, go watch the other video, and we'll go from there. But this is going to talk about lists and leads. Let me ask you a question, or let me make a suggestion. What if you could find a list, or you could find a source of leads of people who already wanted what you had to offer, and you could find them for dirt cheap, 5, 10, 20 cents a piece? Would that be interesting to you? Yes, of course. Most network marketers are lucky if they can get 5, 10, 20 leads a day from from social media and those types of things, and those are very good leads. They can also be very expensive, both in the financial output as well as the time that it takes to learn how to be able to get those things done. I still have to learn those things on a daily basis because they change. But there is a way that you can just go to vendors and be able to purchase them. Let me talk to you about them right now. These guys are called list brokers. List brokers. What's a list broker? Well, just as the name implies, a list broker is somebody who sells leads. They broker leads. They are like real estate agents. That's the best way to put them. Real estate agents don't actually manufacture the house. They don't build the house. They don't actually go out there and do anything vested in the house unless they're an investor. But typical most real estate agents, they just list the house. That's all they do. They take the house, they put it on the market, they get other people to sign it, they get a commission off of it, and they move on their merry way, right? Well, list brokers work in much of the same fashion. What they specifically do is there are lots of folks who have lists. And they'll do their job in cultivating them and generating them and joint venturing to get those folks. They'll do whatever they need to get those people on their database. And then what they'll do is after they have this database for a good long while, after they've monetized it as much as they can, or they've sucked every dollar out of that list that they possibly could, they'll start to rent that list out. And what list brokers will do is, again, they're just like real estate agents. They go to the list, people that own the list. They say, you know what, I have a lot of clients. That's our specific industry. You let me have this list, or let me get a sampling of the list, and I'll find other folks, valid candidates, and I will lease your leads to them. They'll buy them for 10 to 20 cents a piece, and you can sell them multiple times and make more money off of the list instead of it just being dead there. So this is the way this industry works. Well, you and I, the consumer of lists, are capable of going to list brokers and tell them, look, in section 1, I learned who my market was. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a person that meets these specific criteria. I need to get a list of people that fit this category so that I can market to them over the phone. And a list broker is going to say, great, let me make a list of all the things you're looking for. Let me go check what leads I have. I'll come back to you and tell you what file I've got. and I'll let you know what the pricing points are, and I'll tell you all kinds of things. Now, here's the things with list brokers. They're pretty much glorified salespeople. If you're a list broker watching this, you know what I'm talking about. Many of these guys, this is a very shark-infested water type of group. And many of you are probably saying, Greg, I've already worked with list brokers before. I bought opportunity seeker leads and I got hammered. They were terrible. You're right, because opportunity seeker leads are absolute garbage. And the reason that is because they actually are the way that they're manufactured, the way they're generated. There's just a lot of stuff that I don't have enough time to go into here to talk about. They're just bad. Don't buy opportunity seeker leads. They're the worst. What you do want to do is you want to buy consumer leads. Now, there are three types of leads that are out there. There are compiled lists. There are response leads, and then there are buyer leads. What's the difference between the three of these? A compiled list is literally demographic information. It's just general annual income, geographical location, number of children, age bracket, type of industry that these people work in. And they're compiled, hence the name, into one large group of category. Companies like Info USA or some of the larger houses are really big on compiling lists. Don't deal with those companies, by the way. They're actually going to take you for a ride. They have way too many regulations. You're never going to be able to get leads from them that are going to fit what you need. So I don't normally like compiled lists. Although these are the least expensive, you can pick them up for 2 to 3 cents a piece. They're normally not the best quality leads for what type of marketing we're doing. Now, a response lead is 10 times better than a compiled list. This is literally somebody who's gone online or has answered an ad or has gone through some type of brochure and have requested some additional information. Now, response leads have actually used to be really, really great. Over the course of the last few years with the advent of the internet and co-op programs and all of these just co-reg, different lead generation tactics, this has actually really dwindled. It's not near as strong as it used to be, but it is still a fairly good list. But you have to test out several of them to make sure that they work for you. But basically, a response list is somebody that raised their hand and says, yeah, I'd like more information about that. And if you get yourself in a good position to get those leads from a list broker, you can actually wind up contacting them prior to anybody else. Of course, they're a little more expensive. You can range in this list bracket anywhere between 10 cents and anywhere up to 50 cents a lead. And when you're first getting started out, I do recommend testing response leads. They can actually be very good if you know what you're doing, and that's part of what the program in the 6-step training teaches you is how to deal and negotiate for list brokers and where to find those leads and which ones are good, how to identify them, how to track them, how to measure them, all that good stuff. The third group is buyer leads. Now, these are the cream of the crop. They can also be, as a result of that, very expensive. They can range from 50 cents, if not a little bit less than that, all the way up to as much as $10, $15 a piece. So they can be very expensive. Now, I don't mind spending $1 or $2 or even $5 a piece for buyer leads. The challenge with buyer leads, though, is that they can get very expensive, and if you don't have an offer that converts, this can spend you out of business. So, again, it depends on the type of list, and it depends on the list broker and the type of leads that they're getting you. But these two are typically where I'll dwell. In the 6-step training program, what we do is we go through all the different variations of the leads that you can get, what's going to be specifically best for you, how to negotiate with the list brokers, and better yet, I actually teach you how to get these types of leads for free to test initially. Okay. So here's the key. I can show you using this system how to be able to get thousands of leads. I had one student up to 50,000 leads for free that he'd gotten. And he generated all kinds of revenue off of those lists. The key here is that if you know what you're doing, I've dealt with this industry for years. This is the industry that I was in prior to coming to network marketing. We were actually at the same time while doing it. So I know exactly how this industry works. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you go to try to negotiate with these folks, there are certain regulations that you need to be adhered to. There's certain rules, certain systems you need to be qualified with. And if you don't know what you're doing with this, they can take you for a ride. So to keep this video short, just note that you in that chair right there, it's not intimidating. It's very easy when you know what to do. You can get thousands of leads of people who actually want or would have an interest in your product or service before you pick up the phone to talk to them. It makes your job a lot easier. This is Greg Gomez III. We're getting ready to launch a 6-step program. If you want to get on the pre-notification list to know exactly when it's going to launch, click on the link wherever that happens to be, probably over here to your right, and fill in that form, get opted in, and we will let you know as soon as it's ready because we're only going to be accepting 500 people into this program, and it's going to go quick. This is going to be probably the best launch we've ever done, ever, and specifically for the network marketing industry, it's going to change everything completely. Again, this is Greg Gomez. I look forward to working with you. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next video where I'll talk to you about, now that you've got these folks, how do you get a hold of them? I'll talk to you then.